Good evening and welcome back to Guru Chronicles with your host, Soul Guru, coming at you. Thank you for tuning in. So I want to give a shout out immediately to US Renal. Those are the folks that take care of me at my dialysis unit, to Francine, to Barbara, and to Sister Laurel. Thank you guys for giving me feedback and letting me know how things are going. They are faithful in watching the sessions that I present to you, and they are definitely very great at giving me feedback. So ladies, I appreciate you. You are wonderful. Please continue to stay tuned and stay connected. Thank you. So what I want to get into is today's theme for today is how to know when to break up. How to know when to break up. We've been talking relationships, talking about some good things to do, some things to manage the relationship, not trying to manipulate or control the relationship, but more so making sure that you manage yourself in the relationship. Relationships are not about controlling others. They're about managing and controlling yourself. And the better both individuals do that, usually the healthier and better the relationship. And so I want to get into something right away. I have a lot of good information. It's alarming information, but at the same time it's good, because when you get harmful or negative information, the beauty of that is you can take that negative and make it a positive by doing the opposite of what you hear. And so as you're hearing this devastating information, I want you to process it that way. I want you to consider that. I want you to visualize the statistic that you hear. I want you to see and hear to yourself and say to yourself of the opposite of what can take place. So real quick, for the next few minutes, I've had my laptop here, and so forgive me for looking away from the screen, but I want to read off some information to you. And it's just amazing what I saw from McKinley Irving Law Firm office. They've done some research, and I'm assuming it's based on their website. It's, you know, a lot of cases they probably have dealt with on a national level, but they have statistics on the divorce rate in the United States. I wanted to look up, since we're talking about knowing when to break up, I wanted to look up, well, how many relationships get broken up. It is hard to find information on singles, well, not singles, but people who are not married. So when you say relationships, automatically research goes to marriages. And so maybe I should have typed in non-married couples. But at any rate, let's just go through, because most of us end up being with someone to ultimately going to the level of marriage. So just real quick, the first time when you're married, the first time, there's a 41% chance of divorce. If you get married a second time, there's a 60%. There's a 60% chance of divorce. Do you know if you get married a third time, those marriages have a 73% chance of divorce? So it's almost like trying to get it done right the first time. Now, we're human and we make mistakes. I'm not giving you this statistic to bash anyone that may have tried several times. Life throws curveballs at us, things happen, and so we work with what we have. But in looking at that statistic, even though numbers come and research is out there, that don't mean we can't go against it. But what that means is we have to personally work harder on ourselves to go against the results of those statistics that come out. Because most of the time those numbers come out from not putting in the effort. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to go down again to some other things I thought was very interesting, but very good for us to know. Did you know that between the ages of 20 and 24-year-olds, when they get married, 36% of women, 36.6% women, and then 38.8% of men, they get divorced. And guess what hit me? Between 20 and 24, you're trying to work on your career. You're trying to climb up the ladder. You're ambitious. You're successful. You're trying to build your savings. You're trying to work on your IRA. You're trying to do things. And so most of us want to fall in love during this time without considering the cost. The cost is your spouse and your partner will be competing with your life trying to climb that ladder. That's why in my past few videos I said it is so opportunist for us to take advantage of friendships. Why do we dive in trying to get so serious in this country? Why? Because it's promoted. It's promoted through media, promoted through Hollywood, promoted in magazines. Everybody's promoting something that we fail at the most. In this country, we are failing so bad in marriage and relationships. Not even marriages, our relationships are horrible here. They're horrible here. So I'm just going to go through a few more things. In America, there is one divorce approximately every 36 seconds. That's nearly 2,400 divorces per day. 16,800 divorces per week, 876,000 per year. That is insane. That's almost like 1 million people getting divorced a year. The average length of marriage that ends in divorce is 8 years. People wait an average of 3 years after divorce to remarry, if they remarry at all. The average age for couples going through their first divorce is 30 years old. What's going on between the 30-year-olds and 30s? I remember my wife and I were having some major struggles when I was in my 30s. You know, we got to consider these things. We got to do the research. We got to find out. We got to share this information with our children and prepare them. Sometimes we lose because we don't have enough knowledge. We don't prepare ourselves. In all our understanding and all our getting, we're supposed to get understanding. And we're not doing that. We are failing ourselves and we're failing our children. 79.6%. This is interesting right here. This is very interesting what I want to share with you. Did you know most of the time when there's divorce or there's a child involved and there's child support, we think that most of the time it's the non-custodial, which is the parent that's not with the child, that has an issue with child support? Well, guess what? That's not the real total number. It says 79.6% of custodial mothers receive a support award, while only 29.6% of custodial fathers receive a support award. I misread that. But the point is, women tend to receive more support than fathers who are taking care of their children. This is the one I want to talk about. 46.9%. So the mothers who the children don't stay with, that's non-custodial. These mothers, they say, these non-custodial mothers totally default on support. I didn't know that. I thought it was mostly the dads. While only 26.9% of non-custodial fathers totally default on support. So I didn't even know women today who are non-custodial mothers are defaulting. 46% are defaulting more than the guys are who are non-custodial. This is crazy. This is blowing my mind. So I'm going through these, and it's just amazing. They go over celebrity divorces, statistics on the likelihood of divorce. This is very interesting. What I want to get to you on. It says if your parents are happily married, your risk of divorce decreases by 14%. People who wait to marry until they are over 25, who are over 25, are 24% less likely to divorce. If you have attended college, your risk of divorce decreases by 13%. Amazing. In 2008. The voter data showed that the red states, the Republican states, have higher divorce rates than blue states that tend to vote Democratic. Amazing. The more conservative party has more divorces than the more liberal party. That's amazing. And so this is alarming to me too. The Barna Research Group measured divorce statistics by religion. Did you know this? That they found that 29% of Baptists are divorced higher for U.S. religious groups, that they're higher than any other religious group. And only 20% of atheists were divorced or on the lower end of divorce. Non-believers have a less divorce rate than those who are believers. And believers are the ones that support what the Bible says, the original institution of marriage. We are out of control in this country. As the adults, we have to do something. We have to self-assess, check ourselves, and we have to do better and move in a better direction. There's so much more I can give on this information, but I have oh my gosh, I just realized I'm gonna have to break this down into 2 videos. I just can't. I can't give enough. I'm just blown away by this because we act like we're good and we're not. I mean, really? What are we doing? What are we doing? So I did some other research, and most of the stuff I give you, I do read up on it. It's stuff I've learned, getting my psychology degree, some stuff I've learned from my master's, and then the rest is just from people, from life experiences. My experience is being married 17 years, the youngest of 4 brothers. They've been married, my mom and dad going on over 50 years of marriage. So I mean, I've been around a lot of marriages. I've learned a lot, and I've observed and I've learned. When are we going to learn? What are we doing? Are we learning anything? What are we passing down? Are we teaching and training our children to be husbands and wives? Or are we just teaching everybody to get a job? That's not the only part of life. So good we're getting upset with this thing because we got to do better with this. I mean, think about most people you know. They've been in a bad, foul, stank relationship. What is that? What is that? All this information we have. And what are we doing? My wife's a therapist. Half the time people come to her, they don't come when there's smoke and the house is on fire. They come when the house is literally burnt down. You know what I'm saying? I mean, is it even worth even going there? Why do we wait so long? What are we doing? Let me go through some things real quick. So, this is going to take a little bit. Oh my goodness, I'm at 10 minutes. I got to give you this. I got to give you this. I got to give you this. I'll tell you what. I can't even go through the 10 things that the research is saying. There are 10 things that, you know what, I'm going to give you a few and I'll give you the rest on the second video. This is very important. Very important, especially for people who are just getting relationships, or if you're single, you need to understand this. Okay, relationships go through 3 phases, especially breakups. 3 phases. You have projection, you have disillusion, and then you have the power and struggle. All right. The first part you have is projection. Projection is you don't see who the other person is. You only see who you want them to be. Because what I learned in reading about this, did you know love causes the judgment part of your brain to deactivate? When you fall in love, you all, just feeling that person, this and that, there's a slight judgment deactivation. Click, turns off like a light. Where's my bell? I got a bell I used to use. I need to use that bell again. But I'm sorry I'm so jumpy. This stuff is just so good. So projection is you only see what you want to see in the person. That's already a red flag. I mean, because if you're warped and you're not healthy, then what you see about the person definitely may not be accurate for you and what you want. So then the second phase is disillusion. Disillusion is where you see who they really are, and they're not your fantasy. It's switched up now. And so the last part, when it's about breakup time, prior to that is power and the struggle. And that's when there's a lot of argument. You're really going through a lot of things. And so, that's when things get rough. That's when things start really falling apart. They say that most of this is between a 3 to 9 month span. Average relationship has at least a year to last. At least a year. They say also with this is from an article. I got this from Alexis Nicole White. She is a relationships therapist. She was on this website, I think it's called Blight. And they do a lot of articles on relationships and things like that. And so this expert breaks down that between month 3 and 4, we know the representative of the person, which is the image, the persona, what you want the person to see. And then between month 5 and 6, you are really starting to see your partner. You're really starting to see the person. And at this point, you're trying to decipher your feelings, whether or not, am I going to stay in this? Do I need to jet out of here? Do I need to break this thing off? And then in month 7 and 9, you determine if you really want to invest in this person. And then by year 1, you make a decision whether or not it's just going to work at all. And with women invest so much emotionally, a lot that usually with feelings and time and the money women invest in, women are more prone to want to see a return. So they're more prone to want to hang on to a relationship versus a guy who is willing to let go. Like men are in business, when they see the deals going south, they're ready to get out of it. They're ready to jump out of it. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes men can hold on a little bit longer too, but usually the research says the woman tends to hold on more. But that's when abuse sets in. That's when things start just not really going well. And so I want to share that part with you. I thought that was interesting. But some of the things you need to know when you're in a relationship, and you need to know when to break up. You need to know when you need to move on. You need to know that. You need to know when it's time to move on. Stop trying to hang on. Your investment shot is not going any further. And here's some of the signs on when that happens. So one thing that the research is saying is getting in the marriage for the wrong reasons. Okay, you can get in for the wrong reasons: money, just physical, sexual. If it's not compatibility, if y'all don't meet each other mentally, emotionally, and you're not compatible, and you don't have similar or same passions, it's going to be doomed at some point. Number 2, the lack of identity. If you don't know who you are, and you're a codependent person, meaning you never took time when you were single into yourself to know yourself, to develop your own self-expression, your own interests, and your own likes. If you can't do anything without him or her, without in their identity, you don't know who you are, and you need to get that together first, because inevitably when you start discovering yourself, it may totally go against who they are and totally go against the relationship that you are selling for and that you're in. A third thing, becoming lost in your roles. This one I thought was, oh my goodness, my wife and I experienced this. You know, dating, you start out dating, you become a couple, and you become a wife, you become a husband, you have children. Over the years, as you start developing, if you last longer than 2 years, and you get up between years 8, 10, and it gets a little bit longer, between raising your children, you both lose sight of each other. Your career, you can lose sight of each other. You actually can forget how y'all fell in love. And that's why you end up seeing people becoming empty nesters and getting divorced. The children grow up and move on. At that time, they get divorced. That was one of the things that happened. Becoming lost in your roles. Number 4, not having a shared vision of success. Okay? That's something you got to ask the right questions before marriage. You know, how does he feel about chores? Can he vacuum? Can he be domestic? Does he just do the yard and everything? Is he just expecting you to cook and do everything? Or how does she feel about, cooking? There are a lot of women out there, they don't cook. They'd rather go out and buy a meal. How you feel about that? And we don't discuss these things because we're in love and that judgment has detached, and you ain't looking at that the first few months. But within a year, that get pretty old. And you start the brain has to come back to itself. When it does, that's when you start seeing the person for who they really are. That's when the rubber hits the road, okay? So, not having a shared vision of success. And then number 5, and I'm going to stop here, the intimacy disappears. This was powerful. It says men generally need sexual receptivity to feel romantic, and women generally need romance to be sexually receptive. So it's a hand-in-hand thing. Okay, the man has to feel like the female is drawn to him and attracted to him, and that she finds him sexually appealing, and he can shift into a romance mode. But a lot of times we need to initiate the romance role for the woman to actually feel sexually receptive to receive the man and to receive his advances and his cues that he wants to connect and he wants to become close and be intimate. And so I have ran on 17 minutes. I've never gone this far. I think it was very good information. I hope you were able to receive it, because in this life we have trials. We have tests, man. We got issues. I've read some statistics where I know you can see the issues. But I'm telling you this, we go through. But if you like what you saw in this video, I need you to like it, give me some feedback and comment on it, and I definitely need you to subscribe and continue to, as you go through, check in with your soul guru. I'm out.